Thank you for joining and this opportunity. And today's discussion topic is success in tech. It's supposed to be a very large, huge, volatile topic, to be precise. But before I go ahead and answer the question and answer sessions, so I would like to briefly give some pointers based on my experience in the IT industry. So, to be successful in a software industry is something that an individual has to understand what exactly is his line of interest and what is the set target for this, whether it has a different levels of understanding. First is line of interest. Second, the line of interest should how far it is um, adding value to the project, and how much is the contribution of the project at the organization level, and what is the advantage and the client expectations that is getting satisfied with the kind of performance that the individual is providing. Uh, so the success factors is, as I said, it ranges from an individual level to the organizational level. So, but on a basic scale, there are a few things which are very critical. One is as I said, identifying the interest areas. So there are two groups we can consider as part of this: is the freshers who are just come out from the college, and secondly, the people who are coming out of the break. So freshers, I always advise them, whenever they're getting into a first company, they should remain there for at least 2 to 3 years to understand the work and work culture and different aspects of the industry. So this will help on a longer run to grasp what exactly the industries are doing and what is the individual's line of interest, and then proceed ahead with the career path. So similar, it is the same for the person who's coming out from a break, where they need to do a little bit of detail R&D and understand what is the market requirement and where do they match, whether it is in line with the interest of the career path. So that is one aspect. Second is, once you're into the industry, once you're into a job, we have to be always proactive and develop craving for learning always, and never stop learning. And we need to keep upgrading the skills. We should be at par with the market requirement. And the third thing is learning to collaborate and being a team player. That's generally when we are talking to our children, we keep telling that we have to they have to be they have to have this share and care principle always in mind, and that is applicable even in the professional career, where the bonding between the peers and the subordinates and our superiors helps us to gel with the kind of work culture, and then that even helps in easier growth. And learning to listen and communicate, that's very critical, because many people, even though they are very good at their skills and knowledge, but they fail in communication, and even some people don't respond to what is being asked. So that is critical as we grow in the path of grow up. So the building network is another thing. As I said, more interaction with your own peers and subordinates and the superiors will create much more bonding. And you should always uh, even connect with people in other uh, um, companies and other things, so that you get a feel of what is happening in and around. And so that is very critical, as far as you get to explore better avenues and better opportunities in and around your circle. So the other thing is never getting stagnated with whatever you're doing. Getting into, you have to always get out of the comfort zone and keep upgrading yourselves, and keep developing skill sets, and keep promoting yourselves as what you are best at. And remain open to change is another important thing, which, because that's always happens in tech industry, because whatever we learn today may not be relevant tomorrow. So the change and unexpected failures which we encounter should not affect you in a big way. You have to take it as a positive outcome and learnings and move ahead. And you have to keep up the pace and keep yourself abreast with, as I said, the latest advancements and technology. So these are the things I think some of the key aspects for in the growth path of an individual in the IT sector or software sector. Now, I think that's what I wanted to give a briefing. Now let's get into the question and answer sessions. So let me see how many people have. The first question is Neha Bharati. Hello, I have 8 years of teaching experience. Now I want to move in IT sector. Is it good for me? IT sector, actually, being from a teaching background, I think you can fit into something related to education. So nowadays, that is another important domain where IT field is coming up with different solution offerings and softwares, education software. So I will say, being from a non-technical background, you will definitely fit in as a domain consultant person. So you may have to check for such kind of roles in companies. And I think there are several startups that are targeting the teaching, the education related software side. Not only the startups, there are other middle tier MNCs also who are going into a big way in this particular domain. So you may have to search and identify the role and apply for it. So the next question is Tripti. I have 8 years experience in Java SQL, and I have recently done digital marketing too, but need your guidance how to move ahead, as I'm looking for flexible work hours in my work. So one thing I would say is, I'm very happy that you have a really good experience in Java SQL. So one technology which is always on demand is the JavaScript. And it is definitely, even now it's on demand, and it is for especially for building user interfaces. So I think that is a very good skill set you have possessed. And digital marketing, yeah, that is also something that is a booming thing which is happening in the current software industry. But I'm not sure whether you're having some kind of experience in digital marketing, because marketing requires a lot of additional skill set from the domain per se, plus the interaction per se with the different kind of people and other things. Even though it is digital, we need to, it all depends on how do you connect with people and project the solution offerings. So if at all you have some experience, I would say and if you want to move into that kind of a domain, you may need to prepare a CV in such a way that it highlights your potential in that area. And probably, that should be detailed in such a way that it catches the attention more than your other experiences. So that is second part. The third part you have said is it's flexible working hours. So that is slightly conflicting with our today's topic, where we are asking for a growth in a tech. So Yeah, work from home option or flexible work hours is something that um, if you are really keen and being from a experienced person, you will be already aware that yeah, there may be profiles which and companies who are giving that opportunity. Well, then it is well and good, but growth will be always faster when we have a direct connect with the team and with the superior management side. And also the work is also easier when we are with the team. So that is, it's purely based on my experience, but it can differ too. But and other thing is that work from home option or work hours, it works for specific roles like pre-sales, where they generally interact predominantly through conference calls and chat windows and emails, and generally they go on conferences and client visits. And even center of excellence, to an extent we can manage with flexible work hours and work from home. But other roles, especially from a development say per se, I think it is not that easy, because there is always a deadline demand where you have to comply, and that requires quite a bit of overlap with the other job, the role profiles also, like the developers, QA, and business analysts, the project team, and other things. So that's a take from my side. But there's always companies that provide flexible work hours, if and you may have to search in those lines if you're very particular, and try to get into it. So the next question is Anjali. I am an MCA from BIT Mishra, have around 4.5 years experience in technical support, customer service. I wish to move in software development instead of BPO. I left the job around 1 year back. So please suggest me which course or certification should I pursue for a successful career. So two things. I think you are not very keen, because from what I read further, not very keen on going into an extensive coding. That's what I understand. So before I get into your details, I would like to highlight there are few things that are having immense scope and opportunities. Number one is the data science and analytical skills. So that's, as per the current statistics, there are around 28 to 30% increase in the job openings. And secondly, the automation part of it is another area where it has huge scope in the next decade and this decade. And thirdly, the data storage part of it is another area where there is an immense scope, and the cloud computing part. So these are the areas where, in next 10 years, there are huge opportunities that are available, and more will be coming up. So if you are not going into a pure technical side, if you're not inclined to go into a pure coding side, these are the areas where you may have to take up some kind of certifications. Like, so data science and analytics, there are several courses available. Even IBM is providing some collaborative courses in this line. So if you want, you can just check and pursue that. And in addition to that, if you are going into the coding part of it, the software coding part of it, some of the technologies which are always on demand, as you know, the AI related web services technologies, and Python, which is a programming language used for software development and infrastructure management and data analysis. And the other thing, as I already mentioned, the JavaScript, this thing which is used for building user interfaces. And these are some of the software skill sets which are on demand and which will remain in demand for the next 10 years. So you may have to check for certifications on these lines, and if you wanted to pursue further. And job openings are also quite good in these areas. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see what next. Aparna, I wish to do machine learning and data science course. Which institute would you suggest? So as I already mentioned, these two are the supposed to be very, very on-demand thing, or on-demand technology, which is booming. So I already suggested, I think IBM has a course which I found it quite interesting. So I've already answered that part. Second, next is Akanksha. I'm working on mobile app development and have experience in website development. Everybody is suggesting me to do freelancing. Is it good? If yes, then from where I can start? Okay, so before going into answering that question, so first of all, I'm not aware how many years of experience you have in the mobile app development and website development. Yes, you have, there are several avenues where, website creation is being on demand, and there are several people doing that, but I need to understand clearly what is your vision for the next, at least 1 or 2 years with the skill set. So if that is clear, then you can, understand what path you can take for getting into the freelancing mode. So it is, I mean, mobile app development and website development is something that is always having a demand, and in the current era. So it is definitely good to pursue that. But as I said, if you want to be a differentiator from the already existing people who are into this particular, skill set, you need to first understand what you can do differently and what you're aiming at and how you can bring it out such that you get better opportunities and growth. So that's the take from my side. The next one is Riju Reka. Being in tier 2 city, how I can find opportunity in technical sector? Okay, so I think that requires a little more detailing on which city you are living. Is it possible to give me that information? Because tier 2 city, yeah. So I believe not all areas have, the demand for the technical sector. So if you take Bangalore or Hyderabad or Pune, we have a good line of opportunities. In fact, I would say Pune, Gurgaon, Bangalore have the maximum opportunities, and other cities like Chennai and other cities like Coimbatore has some technical side tech companies. And yeah, so you have to be a little choosy, but if you really want to get into opportunity in technical sector with much more exposure, then you may have to target the cities which has maximum number of tech companies. Otherwise, yeah, so as I said, Bangalore will be the hub, followed by Pune, Gurgaon, Mumbai to some extent, and rest of the areas like Hyderabad, Chennai has tech parks and tech companies, but the kind of exposure and experience on the roles and it is more, it has its own limitations, and it depends on what company you're targeting. But you have a really good opportunities in the major cities like Bangalore and Gurgaon, and I would say yes, to an extent, Pune. So if I think you may need to give me more inputs about what exactly is the opportunity you're looking for in technical sector, then I can give you more detailing, because this looks a little generic for me to answer. So next, I think I'm going to refresh again. Guwahati, I'm not very sure, because um that's something which I'm not aware of. Probably I can do some kind of a research on those lines and get back to you, because that's one thing. So but overall, as I said, if you really want to grow in the technical sector, you have to get into the hub cities where you have more opportunities and more exposure. So Swati, any new technologies which will be useful in web development or testing? Okay, as I said, uh, new technologies, but I'm not very sure. But Java is one thing which is always on demand. Other than that, I think artificial intelligence is expecting more on the Python side, and Microsoft related um, technologies. So that is another thing which you can concentrate, as far as I know, current demand per se. So that is where, I have an understanding on that. Now, next, I think we'll go to the next question. After around, it says this Priya, after around 5 year break with technology, which technology do you advise to learn to get back to the industry? I think I've already explained what are the technologies that are on demand. And as I said, the machine learning part of it, and Python, JavaScript programming language, and web services related technologies, and cloud computing part of it. These are some of the areas where there is a lot of scope as far as the industry is concerned. And yeah, let me again refresh. And some questions I have got some messages too. Vaishnavi, how to restart a career in tech again? These days, technologies like Amazon Web Services, data science, and data analysis seems to have a greater scope. Totally confused from where I should start again. Yes, so as I said, restarting. First of all, you should have a clear understanding of what is your line of interest. As I always explained in the beginning, you should not hurry and pick up something that that is being offered. So if that is what you want to do, that's a different case. But when you are really keen to get into some line which you would like to have some more exposure, more growth, then you should remain a little calm and do a detailed research of the market, and do an R&D and understand whatever you've listed is what I've already mentioned. Among these list of scope areas, which one will be your interest line, then narrow that down and then explore what are the opportunities available in the IT industry, and then you can get into the you can choose what and start exploring on those areas. So I think that is what you have to do, rather than jumping into something that is maybe one. It should not be jack of all. You If you wanted to stand out, and because growth means you should have a differentiating factor compared to others. So that's where that happens only when you start doing something which you like, and you spend more time, you are more focused. So you need to first get that clarity before jumping into whatever you wanted to take up. Is there anyone? Okay, there is one more that's coming in. What are, Chitra, prerequisites we need before thinking to start a tech startup? Okay, so that's a good question. So, startup is something that is, is, it has been taken as a very positive one by several people these days, because of the opportunities and that are available from the industry per se, from the domain per se, and there are the internet per se, that IT side. So that way, when you see, again, as I mentioned earlier, you need to understand what is happening in market, as I said, and we need to do, as a startup person, you may be one in 100 people who are having an idea, but how is that idea different from the already existing one? How is it going to benefit the people you're targeting? So those are the things which you need to concentrate and prepare a business case. And I would say, just before jumping into a startup, you need to get into a discussion mode with several industry leaders, people which you are aware, or you get in touch with some people and discuss on those lines and understand what is the scope, what is the line of interest that the public has with whatever solution you are trying to offer. And I'm not saying you have to completely give away the ideas, but at least you should start interacting with the people in the industry and get a feel of what expectations the business side of it that has to be provided, and what is the scope, what are the challenges, and what are the areas you can create something which differentiates from already existing solutions, and how is it easy to market. So every aspect is important as far as the startup is concerned, starting from the idea generation, vision of that startup, and the business case, the budget, and what are the set target for the next 5 years, or at least 2 years, and how do you want to do the planning part of it, the going ahead with as I said, the targeting customers, and how do you want to create a marketing strategy for it, and how do you want to build it, what are the project plan. So it's an end-to-end you know planning that has to go before you jump into something like the concept. So before you finalize the concept, these are the things you have to line up. You have to do a little bit of R&D, so it might take time. So create, I mean, I have seen several people doing the startup. Some have taken 2 years, some have taken 5 years to establish the concept and going ahead. So always it's better to do that way, rather than just starting it with a idea in mind. So that will be my take on the tech startup side. So I think I'm already overshoot the time. Hope the pointers which I provided is useful. In case you have more questions, please reach back to me. I'm a mentor of jobs for her, and I think it was really good sessions and a lot of good questions I received. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.